G'day, I'm Dan, welcome back to my channel. Sorry about the little microphone here, I couldn't find a better place for it and couldn't really hide it with this jumper, it's a bit flimsy. You might have seen that I've got some dingo videos in my back catalogue, and in those videos I mentioned that I would do a follow-up video about the ecology of the dingo in Australia and its ecosystem role. So this is that video, and I want to start by talking about the arrival of the dingo to Australia and its native or non-native status. The dingo arrived around 3,500 to 5,500 years ago, and for many people that permits them to make an argument that the dingo is not native, therefore we should be allowed to kill it. But I disagree, because just because the dingo hasn't evolved here over millions of years doesn't mean it hasn't got a rightful place here. And one of the main reasons that I think it has a rightful place here is that it occupies the critically important top predator niche. And that's the same niche as animals like tigers in India or wolves in North America. It's crucial because not only do top predators control populations of herbivores and keep their populations in check, they also control smaller predators and stop them from decimating ecosystems. And in Australia, our smaller predators are the most abundant ones are the red fox and feral cat. And they were both brought here by Europeans hundreds of years ago to acclimatise Australia and make it seem more like Europe. And that's had such negative consequences because Australia's small and medium-sized native mammals, the ones that the foxes and cats eat, didn't evolve alongside these two predators. And because foxes and cats are such capable hunters, they have absolutely decimated populations of Australia's small and medium-sized native mammals. And that's where the dingo comes in. Science is showing, including studies that I've done myself as part of my PhD project, that dingoes control populations of mesopredators, which is the red fox and feral cat. Not only will dingoes kill red foxes and feral cats if they see them, their mere presence in the landscape stops red foxes and cats behaving as if there's no top dog in the ecosystem. So when dingoes are around, foxes and cats have to look over their shoulder and can't hunt for as long as they would normally like to, or can't hunt in the same places that they would normally like to. So the dingo has a positive effect that way as well. And dingoes are found almost all over Australia, except for Tasmania. They do very well. You can find them in the rainforest, you can find them up in the snow, I've filmed them up there. You can find them in forest country, coastal areas. They do very, very well, and they're one of our best biodiversity conservation tools. And one way to highlight this interaction between foxes and cats and dingoes and their herbivore prey is by using this little animation that I've made. Here's a simplified ecosystem which represents many of the ecosystems in Australia and helps us highlight the role of the dingo. You've got foxes, which is representing the introduced mesopredators like foxes and cats. Bandicoots, which represent the small and medium-sized native mammals. Medium mammals like a wallaby. And the vegetation. This is like grasses, small shrubs, things like that. And what happens is, when you introduce the dingo into the ecosystem, so when dingoes are able to persist, introduced mesopredators like foxes and cats are reduced in abundance. And that allows small and medium-sized native mammals to increase because they're not predated upon by the foxes and cats. And dingoes control the medium and large macropods because they eat them. And that allows the grasses and shrubs to increase because they're not being overgrazed. And that provides more habitats for our small and medium-sized native mammals as well. But when we remove the dingo through poison baiting, for example, that permits the foxes and cats to grow their populations unchecked. And they drive down populations of native small and medium-sized mammals. And our medium and large mammals become overabundant because dingoes are no longer preying on them. And they overgraze the grasses and vegetation and removing the habitat for our small and medium-sized native mammals. So you can see that dingoes are critically important in Australian ecosystems, and when we take them away, we have completely degraded ecosystems dominated by foxes and cats and overabundant herbivores, and it is no good for biodiversity conservation whatsoever. So we need to figure out a way to allow dingoes to live sustainably alongside livestock production. We're not going to get sheep farming shut down or anything like that, and we don't necessarily want that, but we want to figure out a way that it can all coexist, because at the moment we're killing dingoes to protect sheep farmers, and I don't think many people would be too happy about that transaction. If you think about it, you know, we haven't really asked the young people that will be, you know, the future of Australia. Are you happy with allowing sheep farming to dominate this country in many areas, especially along the east coast and southwestern areas and in the interior, at the expense of biodiversity conservation? Because sheep farmers and government agencies are the ones killing dingoes without a regard for the effects that it's having on conservation in Australia. It's not just the dingo that we're removing many other small and medium-sized native mammals, not to mention birds and reptiles that are also affected by foxes and cats. So we need to figure out a way to live alongside the dingo. It is an incredible conservation tool. It's a wonderful animal to have in the landscape, and if you've ever had the opportunity to observe dingoes in the wild, it's one of the most moving experiences you can possibly have in Australia, and I urge you to seek it out if you can. Thanks very much for tuning in. I hope this video was interesting or entertaining or informative, and I look forward to seeing you again.